Welcome to CTV News Channel. Thanks for joining us. I'm Andrea Bain. Well, a call to action from coast to coast continues across Canada today, with more protests expected in Toronto, Kentville, Nova Scotia, and Calgary. Thousands of Canadians have already gathered to take a stand against anti-Black and anti-Indigenous racism. In Halifax, a rally was held downtown to commemorate and honor Black and Indigenous lives lost. In Montreal, people gathered for a vigil, lighting candles outside a Montreal area police station. Over in Toronto, a silent vigil outside City Hall to honor the lives lost at the hands of law enforcement. While in Edmonton, thousands came together at the province's legislature chanting Black Lives Matter and I Can't Breathe. And in Vancouver, up to 10,000 people gathered downtown for a passionate and peaceful demonstration. Meantime, in Canada's capital, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau took a knee with protesters. He says systemic racism in policing is a long-standing issue that needs to be addressed. For more, I'm joined by Kike Roach. She is Unifor National Chair in Social Justice and Democracy at Ryerson University. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Andrea.
All right, so let's start with a really big question, which is, what do you say to those people who live in Canada and don't think that racism is an issue here?
Well, you know, I've been protesting these issues since I was a child, and now I'm a middle-aged woman. Canada has a long and shameful history of police violence against Indigenous and Black people. And as a lawyer, I represented so many families whose loved one died unnecessarily in custody. I can think of, for example, a parallel case to that of George Floyd that happened here in Toronto, Mr. Kenneth Allen, who was strangled to death by Officer Paul Van Setters with using a nightstick against his neck, dragging him into 52 Division. And there's so many other stories like that. I've sat in and represented families and community organizations on countless inquests into the death of people who died in police custody due to excessive police use of force, and oftentimes with a racial or a mental health element involved as well. So there's a long history here too.
And where do you think that lack of awareness stems from?
I think it stems right from the beginning when we look at our education system. I teach at a university now, and I get university students who have no idea of Canada's long history and involvement with hundreds of years of slavery, of formal segregation, of continued discrimination, and a lack of awareness and action not awareness, but action on the part of our leaders. You know, a lot of people are looking at Prime Minister Trudeau taking a knee now as a hollow gesture. You know, when Colin Kaepernick took a knee, he lost his job. And now when the Prime Minister does it, he does it to make it look like he is doing his job. But they're hollow, empty, symbolic gestures. And instead, he needs to get down to the business of taking serious action to confront systemic racism in this country.
Systemic reform is needed. Well, over the past couple of weeks, we've seen two women, Regis Korchinski-Paquette and Chantal Moore, die after police were called to de-escalate a situation. Are police properly trained for these kinds of wellness checks?
Yeah, the interesting conversation that's happening now, Andrea, is that people are saying that we need to defund the police and we need to move away from forcing people to call 911 when their loved ones are having a mental health crisis. Time after time, again, in these inquests, we've seen that police are not adequately trained to respond to these issues. And what we need is to stop taking the millions and sometimes billions of taxpayer dollars and putting them into tasers and more batons and body cameras and stuff like that, because those haven't proven to save life. So we need to redirect those funds to the things that have been proven to address both mental health issues and issues around youth and youth involvement in crime. We need greater access to healthcare. We need a variety of support systems for people who are experiencing some type of mental health crisis. And we need programs and jobs and proper housing and opportunities for youth so that they're not involved in criminal activities. And those are things that the Prime Minister could take leadership on. We could be investing federal dollars into long-range, long-term, stable funding for community programs that we've seen have had a proven track record.
Mm-hmm. A lot of great points there. I want to thank you so much. Once again, that is Kike Roach, Unifor National Chair in Social Justice and Democracy at Ryerson University. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Andrea.